guys, I'm in the art room again. Today I'm going to show you how we're going to stuff our heart-shaped soft sculpture that we've been making this week. So we want to make our sculpture thick and fluffy inside. We're going to stuff it with newspaper. Newspaper is a really soft paper, so we can roll it up into balls and it'll be almost like cotton balls or cotton pom-poms that we use on other crafts sometimes. And sometimes soft sculptures made by artists are stuffed with paper. Sometimes they're stuffed with cotton. Sometimes they're stuffed with other materials or styrofoam. Today we're going to use paper to stuff our heart sculpture. So you painted two different heart-shaped pictures with real colors on them. And we're going to cut them out before we stuff it. So if you still need to cut one of your hearts out, you'll need to cut that out first. Just cut out the big shape of the heart. We're not cutting on the lines inside the heart. We're just cutting around the outside shape. So we have one big heart after we cut it out. Actually, you'll have two big hearts. We're going to put those two big hearts back to back. One on one side, one on the other side. Now, since we drew them ourselves and we didn't measure it, they may not be exactly the same size. If they're not, that's fine. Just put them back to back where you can see the colors on the front and on the back. We're not turning them the same way, because if we did that, we wouldn't be able to see the colors on one side. We're turning them so that their backs are touching each other. And after you put them back to back like that, I will come around and staple the edge of your hearts together. I'm just going to leave a small area that we'll call a pocket, where we could reach inside and stuff our heart sculptures. So I'm going to staple almost all the way around. I'm going to have to turn it around because it's a little bit smaller on this side. I'm going to leave a whole pocket, and then that would be a place where I could reach inside and stuff it. So I can see now that when I stapled them that one of the hearts was bigger than the other one. There's a little bit of the creamy colored paper here, and it's bigger on the other side. So I'm gonna have to cut that off before I stuff it. So that's what you'll need to do after I staple yours. If you see some of the paper is bigger on sticking out on one side, just trim that off so that your two hearts look the same on two sides. And it's fine if one is bigger than the other. Mine was, and that's because I didn't measure it. So I'm just going to cut off any part that's sticking out. There's still a lot of colored areas because they're big hearts, so I didn't cut off anything important. I need one more staple on this corner. So now I've stapled it all the way around except for the little area where I'm going to stuff it, that I'm calling a pocket. So now I need to stuff my heart shape. But before I do that, because we're going to put a face on our hearts, if you want to, you're going to get a Sharpie. It should be in your box already, actually. And you can draw some silly, cute, funny faces. It could be emojis if you like emojis. If you like to draw eyes a certain way or faces a certain way, you could draw them any way you like. If you want to make it look like one side's sleeping, one side's awake, you could have the eyes closed on one side and open on the other. There's some closed eyes, just lines, just some simple lines. I'm just going to draw a little oval shape for the nose. It's a real easy, cute way to draw a nose. It's just a little oval, and I put it right in the middle where all the colors come together on mine. So it could be smiling, frowning, it could be happy faces, sad faces, silly faces. Put a little tongue hanging out to make him look silly. Just some simple lines, and maybe a few little shapes filled in would be fine. You don't have to put a face on both sides. If you just want a face on one side, you could draw a face on one side instead of both sides. But it looks cute when you can turn it over and see different faces, I think. So it's up to you what faces you decide to put on your heart sculpture. So when you're done with the faces, then we're going to stuff it. And while you're waiting on me to staple your heart, because there's going to be a lot of hearts for me to staple, while you're waiting on that, you can start tearing the newspaper into long, skinny strips. I'm going to give you some big sheets of newspaper, and you're just going to take it and tear some long strips. Just grab it and tear it into some long, skinny strips of paper. If you get some of the paper that's shiny and slick, that has pictures from stores and things they want you to buy, just set that aside because it's not as soft, it's real slippery, and it doesn't really roll up in a ball very well. So use the paper that has words on it, roll it up in a ball after you tear it. You're just going to squish it in your hand and make a little ball shape out of it, and you can be making all of the paper balls. You can roll them up and make the paper balls out of them while I'm going around and stapling the sculptures for you. So you're going to roll them up into balls, and then once your heart is stapled all the way around except for that pocket, you can start stuffing it. You want to be very careful when you start putting the paper balls inside the heart because you don't want to tear the hearts that we painted. They are kind of thick, but they're still soft paper, so you don't want to push too hard. I'll leave a big enough pocket that you should be able to put it in there without tearing it. But you need to be very careful when you stuff it, so you're not pushing it through and making holes in your heart shapes, because that's the outside part of it. We don't want holes in the outside part. So I just need to roll paper in a ball, stick it in the pocket, push it all the way up into the curves at the top and the pointy part at the bottom. We're going to stuff the whole sculpture, the whole heart, so it's big and thick, and put as much paper in there as we can. When you get to the point where the paper won't stay in anymore, you stuff it as much as you can without making it tear, and there's nothing coming out of the hole. If there's something that's popping out of the hole, you can take that out because it won't fit. Then we'll staple the hole shut. We'll staple the pocket. And once it's all stapled up, we'll have our sculpture. It's almost like a big pillow. It's so thick and soft. We don't want to use it like a pillow though because it might get torn. It is a work of art. So we could hang these up. We could put a string on them and hang them up, or we could put them on the wall with some putty. So there's lots of ways we could display it. We could set it up on a table or a counter, and after you take it home, there's lots of ways you could share it with your family at home too. So we're gonna make our 3D heart sculpture by stuffing it today. I hope you have fun making it, and I'll see you soon.